Hey everyone, this is Melissa with The Creative Season and here with another painting project. This is a short one. I've been working on some videos that have turned out longer, so I thought, you know, we need just a little bit of a short video this week because it's really fun sometimes to, even if you only have 10 minutes, to do a quick painting. So we are going to do just a couple of renditions of this really sweet vase of flowers in a window. Super easy, super sweet. It's not a lot of detail. My brother got me some Gerber daisies, so those were kind of the inspiration for this painting. And I'm gonna do one of pink, and then I'm gonna do another color, so you can see just the differences. I have just done some very light sketching here, and I know my sketching tends to be pretty light, so you can see the vase here. You can go ahead and I'll move this guy over just a little bit so you can see this guy over here as well. I'll back it up. Very light, not too intense. I really have the vase. I have the eye, or the middle part of the flower, just to give me some reference. And on both of these, I've decided that it'd be fun to paint them in a window. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to start by painting the background, because if I don't get that first, it gets a little bit messy. So I've got my brush, and I am using, if you have a brush with a little bit of a point like that, that'll work really nicely. I've got my paints ready. If you want to use a ruler, if you want to pause and sketch, feel free to sketch out the window, which can be helpful. You just want to make sure that you have enough room on your ledge for the flower vase. And in this one over here, I actually didn't work up the window, so we could just pretend this is a table. Just make sure in both of them that you have room. That's a little bit dark. And we're just going to pretend that we're looking out onto a sunny, beautiful sky day. Or again, this is a quick one. We're just doing a nice, quick painting today. If you ever feel it's a little bit too much, just dip your brush in the water and have it go around. I'm going to go just to the edge. And when you're doing the little paintings, it's nice to do a couple at the same time, and that way you're letting them dry in between so we don't get that bleeding effect. So we've got one on our table. I think this will probably end up looking more like a table than a window. And then over here, this is going to be our window. So on that, I've got my window outlines, and I'm going to go around the vase. And you'll notice that I have the vase off to the side in both paintings. I don't have it right in the middle because we draw the eye in, and it's just a more creative and appealing piece of art when it's not all perfectly centered. So we don't start in the middle or in the middle here. We always want to be off to the side of it. And I am using two different kinds of watercolor paper today. I've been doing some experimentation. So you're going to see the paint. You may notice that the paint is drying a little bit differently based on those different kinds of watercolor paper. And you notice I just kind of left the outline around these blank. Okay, now one of them I am going to go ahead, and this, you know, I like to keep my colors kind of singing throughout the painting. I had done a pink vase. I think over here though, for one of these, I'm going to do a yellow vase, and you can do whatever one color you would like. We're going to do yellow vase over here, and so I'm going to let this come down and letting those colors, I've got quite a bit of water on the brush, but I'm also letting the paint go as well. And so if the flowers are in the window, the sun is coming in, right? And so we're going to have a lot of shadowing on this side. And then we'll have a little bit of a shadow coming off as well. And then over here on this one, I think we're going to go ahead and I will go back and do my pink-ish vase over here. And I had more paint build up, so you can see it's trying to bleed out. If that happens, not a big deal. We'll go ahead and grab our paper towels and we'll do a little bit of blotting. Make sure you leave a little bit of white space, because that's kind of the fun of watercolors, creating that sense of light reflecting off of it. Even though the sun is of course behind, there's still a lot of light pouring in, so we again leave that light. Okay, All right, so over here, I am going to go back here, and I'm going to start putting in just some of my petals. Hopefully you can see that here. I'm going to move this over just a bit. There we go. That way you can see that a little bit better on that side. And I'm being aware that I do have the blue, but with that tip, I can do really nice, long petals. Now with this guy up here, this one's kind of facing away. It's as if the flower, let me take one of these guys out, is away. So we're just looking on the side of that flower. So with that, we're going to have the flowers looking out like that. And we won't see face on the big bulb. And I'm going to come back, we'll add some more in just a minute. I'm going to move back over here to this one. And I think on this guy, I'm going to create some yellow flowers here. Pretend that's a yellow Gerber daisy. And just long and lean. And again, I'm going to have one guy out to the side. And if you wanted to do like a huge bouquet, you could just fill it up. That would be beautiful. With lots and lots of flowers just coming out everywhere. And you see it's blending into the blue a little bit. I'm not too bothered by that. I'm just going to let it dry. I'm going to come back over to my windowsill here over on this while we're letting this dry. And I thought what might be fun is if this is my window, we're going to pretend that the room is painted a nice fun color. And I actually was thinking about what if there was stripes, but they wouldn't quite. Let's see. Well, let's just do it. Let's just have fun with this. So I'm going to pretend that there's one stripe going all the way down. Now, if you wanted to take your time and make them really even, you could take masking tape and then put a piece of masking tape all along here and just in chunks, so that way you got perfectly straight edges. We're not going to do that today, but in the future we might. So I'll just kind of go right here. I'm going to just kind of do eyeball it. And that's kind of fun, right? We're just making believe. I rent right now, and so usually when you rent places, they don't really like you to change the paint colors, but I'm often thinking, one day when I have a place of my own, I'm going to do some fun stuff. I may not do pink stripes. That might be a little wild. But you never know. Maybe on the inside of a closet. I remember when I was in elementary school, it was really big to do wallpapering and stenciling. And my mom did this beautiful, I think my room was painted yellow, and we had this strip of wallpaper that had sheep on it. It was very, very soothing. And then my mom stenciled flowers on all of my dresser, all of my furniture in my room, all yellow and light blue. It was a very peaceful room, I must say, and happy. Peaceful and happy. I've always remembered that room very, very fondly. And the funny thing is, I know when I got a little bit older, we did move, but I think it changed before we moved. But I have no memory. It must have been something maybe not as interesting as cute little lambs on my yellow wallpaper, huh? All right, so here we go. We've got, that's pretty fun. I have to say that is really pretty fun. We're going to leave this all white. And I realized I had those pencil lines, and you could either erase the pencil marks after everything is dry, or you can come back. You know how I like to come back with a little bit of ink sometimes. Now I will tell you with this, I did not come back with any ink. I just left it. And I thought, you know what? I kind of just like it. It's a very free, it's very watercolory. And honestly, with these are fun too, because they're really perfect for just slipping into the mail in a card. You can write something on the back, you can write a quote, you can write a little letter, but just super, super fun and cute. Makes for a fun bookmark. All right, so we've got this going over here. I'm going to get a smaller brush now. Let's work a little bit on the green for the stems. Now that everything's just a little bit dry. So with this guy over here, remember it's looking to the side. So I've got this guy coming out here like this. And I have a big stem here. Gerber daisies, just like sunflowers. Sunflowers have very thick stalks. They're almost stalks more than stems. Gerber daisies too have a very straight stem. If you look at this too, it's not only solid, but it's really not, it's not very bendy. And what I mean by that, it's just gonna stay in that shape. In fact, their heads are so heavy though. I noticed my brother bought me this beautiful bouquet of 5 perfect Gerber daisies last week. Their heads get so heavy that the stems will break. And so what I ended up doing is just trimming them. That really has nothing to do with our painting, but that if you get Gerber daisies and they fall over, just trim them and then put them in a smaller container. Okay. I have been dreaming about having a garden recently. I think this summer, and staying in a lot between the heat and everything else going on, I have been just thinking a lot about, what might I like to do differently in the future? Okay, so you notice the blue kind of got around here. We'll come back and fix that up. I had put a lot of paint, and so the paint just had a hard time absorbing into the paper, and that's fine. We're gonna give it just another minute. What I am gonna do now, this is nice too, if you're watching this, you're thinking about doing this, to come back, let it dry, go get a drink of water, run and get the mail or whatnot, then come back and do a little bit more, and these will wait for you, and it's really fun just to keep adding on them a little bit more, a little bit more. Now over on this one, I am going to make those nice, I'm going to make a nice yellow insides, and I'll probably add a little bit of brown too, and even with this one on the side, they're so thick you can kind of see it popping out. And we're going to need some more pink leaves, definitely. I'm going to tell you a little, if you don't know this trick, if you add a little bit of purple to your yellow, it creates a shadowy effect, without looking unnatural. So add just a dab of purple to your yellow, and then what I'll do is I'll kind of make some shadows. What I like to do is show the depth. I should have really erased that line there, so it doesn't look like we have the wall coming through. But I didn't. So I'm just going to do that. And over here for the shadowing, I am going to take, the other thing is for shadows, add blue and black together in a lot of water, and you get this really nice shadowy gray look. And so I'm going to do that over here with this guy, and over here just a little bit. And then, so it doesn't look like that color is just hanging out by itself, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more shadowing around. Just a little bit here and here. If it looks too much like a line, add a little water, and that blends out very, very nicely. There we go. I put a little bit over here. I like to create some corners too, because of course when we take off the tape, it's that beautiful, beautiful edge, which I love. Put a little bit of shadowing underneath this flower and around the base down here. I will say when I do these videos for YouTube, the watercolor never quite dries enough for me to show you the detail. So I will go ahead and include a picture. If you go over to the blog at thecreativeseason.com, I often put pictures up on the video page, and that way you can see the progression, as well as you can see what it looked like when I was all done with it. All right, so we've got our shadowing. We need to do a little bit more for our flowers, and I think what I'm going to do for the yellow flowers is I'm going to take that gray and put that in the middle. I realize that's not what the Gerber daisies looks like, but you know, the fun thing is when you're creating these, you can just do whatever you'd like, right? I'm even going to add a little bit of pink to my, there, and I still have a lot of water, but that's okay. This might be one where I come back with some ink and I clean it up a bit, and then I paint another layer over it. There we go. And you can see, you just let it dry, and then add some more. And you can add a little bit of purple to the pink. That can be careful, just add just a little bit. And then that kind of creates a nice shadow. If it feels too dark, add a little bit of water and just move it around just like that. Okay, so this guy's pretty watery, isn't he? He's really watery. That's okay. This one's coming out a little bit more clear, like I would have liked it to. So, and that is the fun of watercolor. It kind of takes on a life of its own. We can either be really, really kind of nervous about it and just wait till everything dries and go really slowly. But you know, the fun of it is just to take a little bit of a break and loosen up. And you know, if it doesn't turn out like you really, really wanted it to, it's not the end of the world. I can always find a way to go back and make it lovely with some pen and ink. And we always keep learning. We learn about color combinations and what looks lovely together. I'm going to add a little bit of purple in there. Just if you want to drop in some color too, right over here. That turns out really fun, and that way I'll move this closer. Even with both of these guys, I just will drop color in and then let it move around. So drop it right by that eye of the flower and then see where it goes. And that adds a little bit of a fun spring. I'll notice too with some of my stripes on the side that, you know what, maybe I'll just kind of go back in if they look a little bit faded. Do one more layer down here. And then too with the shadowing, with that shadow color, that blue gray color that we like, I'll go ahead and identify the ledges of the wall. And even we could do just a little bit of shadowing in here. There are a few things that are actually stark white. So adding just a little bit of color and pulling that color down shows kind of the light playing against everything. Just do a little bit more yellow. Here, let's see where we are in time. Okay, 15 minutes. Well, goodness, it's not terribly short one, isn't it? Now this one I really am going to have to come back and clean up, aren't I? Because really, it just had a blast moving around and playing, but that's fine. I might even at this point take a little bit of orange and just add a little bit in there. We'll see how that guy comes out. But I will come over here just so you can see this. I'll end up doing a little playfulness, but see how fun that is when you work with the stripes and then pull it off? It's really quite fun. Very happy, very energetic. And you could leave it just like this. If you wanted to, you could go through and you could create a little bit with a pen or even with a little bit of watercolor if you want to create like a window pane and put the pane right here and right here. I did that with this one with a very little bit. See the very light gray here, just showing the outline. Well, I hope you had fun with this. It's just a very, very easy way of putting things in windows. Fun, easy way to do your lovely little flowers. Incorporate the flowers you're seeing on your walks. We're actually going to use this project in one coming up. I'm going to be having a lot of fun with painting some desserts. And I hope you will join me next week for that. So this is Melissa with The Creative Season. I hope you have a wonderfully creative week, and I will see you next time. Take care.